This episode is brought to you by Blood Lubricants. If you're a regular listener to the DIRTRACKR podcast, you've been hearing me talk about Blood for a few weeks now. While Blood might be a newer brand name, the guys and technology behind it certainly are not. The folks behind Blood have decades of experience making high-quality lubricants, and their technology and products have a proven track record across many industries and applications. You can take advantage of their knowledge and experience to keep your race car performing at its best with their line of high-quality synthetic racing oils. And don't just take my word for it. I'm just a dirt fan with a podcast. What the hell do I know about racing oils? But you should listen to guys like Corey Eliason, Danny Dietrich, and Craig Kinzer. These are serious professional racers with a ton of race wins on some of the biggest stages, and they all trust Blood products in their race cars. To see the full line of Blood lubricants and accessories, visit bloodlubricants.com. That's BLUD lubricants.com. If you'd like to receive 25% off most products, use code DIRT at checkout. That's DIRT, all caps, at checkout. All right, joining me right now on DIRTRACKR Conversations, big block modified driver Mat Williamson. Matt, I guess the thing, and actually we were just talking about it here briefly, but the difficulty of you being a Canadian racer and racing in the United States this year, kind of give me an idea of what it's been like going back and forth across the border and all of the hoops you've had to jump through.
It's been one summer to forget, really. With the border being closed, it kind of brought up a situation that we never really wanted to deal with. Fortunately for me, over the past few years, we've had accountants involved and lawyers involved in making sure that if anything like this came about, we wouldn't have any issues. So, kind of planned ahead, but didn't really plan on this happening. So, when it did, we were well prepared, and it just made it difficult. You want to keep everybody safe, and when we were traveling, obviously we're more risk than what it would be if we weren't traveling. So when I came home from racing in the States, I'd get tested and essentially have to quarantine until my test results came back. So it was a kind of a hassle, but we dealt with it the best we could.
How difficult is it in a normal year? I mean, is it pretty simple to get back and forth across the board? I mean, is it just you, or are you hauling race cars, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's not too bad. When we go racing with my own stuff, they tend to kind of see you more often, and we cross 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes even more. So the U.S. border agents are really good with us coming over racing. If anything, we do get a hassle, it's coming back home into Canada. They don't like you going to the States and spending money, and that the Americans like us coming and spending money. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but it really, it's a hassle that you wouldn't like to deal with, but all in all, we make the best of it.
I guess your main deal is big block modified, but now you run some 358 stuff too. But I was looking at some stats earlier, and it looks like you ran somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 races this year and won something like 16 or 17 races. Kind of give me a rundown on your season and what you've been able to do so far.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. We made the best of it towards the end. Kind of really made the whole year better. We had won some big races up in Canada. We put on some big races and tried to get the sport rolling at the beginning of the year. Won a race at Humberstone. It was pretty cool to win that one. It paid more than what a normal race weekly would pay, and we weren't doing anything at that point. So that kind of got the ball rolling, and then we went up to Quebec and won a race in Granby, and that was my first ever win in Quebec. So that was cool to do too. And then we won at Cornwall, we won at Brockville, crossed over the border a couple times, won a race at Albany, Saratoga, and won a few at other places, Orange County, Port Royal. At the end of the year, we really turned up at the big money races, and that's what makes your year. 53,000 at Port Royal and 25,000 in Orange County in the middle of a pandemic is about all you could ask for. So it was good.
You kind of go back and forth between cars. Give me an idea about what your kind of arrangement is with the different teams and cars you drive for.
Yeah, we have our own program. Small block, big block. We have one big block and one small block. Great motors and good cars. That's kind of how I got rolling, and I've got very good group of guys that help me out on my own stuff, and sponsors and crew, and family, it's a pretty cool deal what I got on my own. And but then like you said, I got great car owners. I got Ranceville. We run over at Ranceville on Friday nights, and the Coco Wentz team, they're awesome to go and, it's enjoyable every Friday night going over there and racing with them guys, and then drink a beer after the races. So that's kind of my traveling small block. We plan to run some bigger races with that at the end of the year so that I can keep my own stuff for the satellite shows during Super Dirt Week. And, the Canadian races like Brockville, the 10,000 win at Brockville at the end of the year, and some of the Cornwall races. And then I got on American Racers, DIRTRACKR Super Series kind of stuff. We got the Barron's number 3 car. We keep that one for, like I said, the DIRTRACKR Super Series, American Racer races, and most of the Orange County races. Jeff and Harry are pretty close to the Orange County Fair Speedway, and it holds a special place in their heart, and they like to do all the big races there. And then obviously, the car we won the Super Dirt Series championship with was the Buzz 288. And, Buzz is from Long Island and goes to Florida in the wintertime, so it works out really good that we can race at Volusia when he's down there, and he can kind of come over and spend a week with us and get away from it all, and kind of spend a week with the boys drinking beer and vodka sodas. So we race his stuff, the Super Dirt Series stuff, Super Dirt Week, essentially every big money race on Hoosier tires. And for all the car owners to get along and kind of have this agreement is pretty special to me. Obviously, like I said, it started in the shop behind me, and it's kind of led into this big thing where I can go racing a lot more and hit up a lot bigger races with some good equipment.
Are you able to race professionally, or do you have another job?
Actually, I work during the winter. My dad's involved in Bicknell Racing Products. They build 250 big block modified, small block modified, and sportsman cars a year. So they're swamped. I go in there during the day in the wintertime and hang bodies and try to help out where I can. I actually went in today and I got my car back from paint, and the shop's empty behind us. I got a snowmobile back there and a bunch of parts sitting on the ground, but I got my frame back and I'm putting a body on that and getting that ready to go. We're not sure whether we're going to put a big block in it or a small block in it, but that's going to be something we build over the winter. And fortunately, I get to do that at work.
Is there, how many guys do you think there are up there that are able to race professionally? I mean, is there enough money, around to be able to do that for the modified guys?
It's tough, obviously Stuart Friesen does it. He's got a truck deal going on. That kind of helps out. Matt Shepard does it. I know a few others, but I'm not sure whether they work or not. I know Anthony Perego races for a living, but he also helps out at Teo, I think. And Billy Dunn, I think Billy Dunn races for a living. Tim Fuller. I'm not really sure of many others. I mean, everybody's got something else going on with the racing stuff. Larry White has a trucking business to take care of. Jimmy Phelps has Weed Sport, and I'm pretty sure he's got this big business that he takes care of too. So up here, it seems like everybody, nobody really races for a living without doing something else. Even Matt Shepard, he races for a living, but he builds bodies in the wintertime and helps people set up their cars. And, you can't just work on your own stuff and expect to go get from end of November to March without a paycheck. It's a tough deal. So we try and make the best of it.
Do you think that the seasons have a lot to do with that? Obviously not being able to race until later in the year because it's still so dang cold. Like maybe if you're able to race, like, in the US, if you're able to go south or something like that and race, maybe you'd be able to make some more money.
Yeah, I think it's actually trending towards, more what the late models and the sprint cars are doing. Obviously, there was a couple big races in Louisiana this week. And if it would have been a normal year with the border open, we probably would have been down there racing. So it's getting to be, they're talking like more and more races, and people are kind of opening their eyes to how cool these modifieds are. I think there's mentions that they're going to come out on iRacing. Hopefully that's a huge platform to be a part of. Hopefully that can kind of broaden the horizons for the modified racing. And, Brett Dale announced today there's going to be 250,000 to win races next year. So not just his traditional Fonda 200. This year was replaced at Port Royal. He's going to do both of them. So that's awesome to see. Those races are what makes it so that you can race for a living and have a pretty decent paycheck at the end of the year.
You obviously won the Eastern States and that Port Royal weekend kind of pretty close to each other there. It was, a nice stretch of races for you. But do you feel like as a racer, when you get an opportunity to go like that, $50,000 for a modifieds there's not too many shows on the schedule that are paying that kind of money. But, do you feel like the pressure and kind of the competition ramp up when you go race one of those big money shows?
Your nerves are a little bit more weary. Obviously you prepare a little bit more. This year we went down and raced this Oktoberfest, and then went from Oktoberfest down to Jeff Barron's shop and did a little bit of preparation on the car. Jeff always builds good cars, and I'm very fortunate. Everybody I drive for probably prepares race cars better than I would myself. So not saying that we went down there to check on Jeff's work, but, an extra set of eyes. We scaled the car, and, he brought out a new car for those two races, and we probably would have brought it out in the middle of summer or beginning of summer, but this year there was no races. So we kind of saved that one. The new car he was putting together, we kind of saved it towards the end of the year, and knew that there was going to be $73,000 or $78,000 in a 2-week period where we could put something together. So, obviously when you're working on a car and you're going to race for 78,000 in 2 weeks, you don't mind working late nights and early mornings. So, fortunately I got to bring some crew guys down from Canada for those big races, and they made it feel like home. And, we worked hard to win them ones.
When you kind of look around at your year, I'm curious, there wasn't Super Dirt Week this year, and it's wild to think that there was no Super Dirt Week in a season, but obviously got replaced by Oktoberfest, like you mentioned. How strange was it to kind of go down there and do something like Oktoberfest kind of in place of Super Dirt Week?
It was different. Obviously we missed what Oswego has become. It just seemed to be starting to get rolling. Obviously, we won there last year, so it's like a double whammy when you can't go there and race again this year. But even with, take the win away and take everything away that happened last year, the atmosphere was starting to get to be like, the Moody Mile was, and like Super Dirt Week should be. That's the greatest party on dirt. It's a weekend everybody looks forward to, and it was finally starting to get the ball rolling where people knew where to go at night, and it had the atmosphere of Super Dirt Week. And then of course the pandemic hit. So I think Dirt did a great job with making Oktoberfest as the best they could during a pandemic. But obviously I hope we get back to normal next year for Super Dirt Week.
I want to definitely talk about your kind of 2019 season and winning the championship. And, you had a really great year. You beat Matt Shepard, multiple wins, you're in the top 10 all the time. But, what did you learn, or, what was different from past seasons to 2019 that, allowed you to kind of get over that hump and win the championship?
We had joined on with Buzz. They provided me with probably cars that we wouldn't have had in years prior at racetracks that we never raced at. We went to Lebanon Valley, and we run 5th at the Valley, and I'll attribute all that success to Billy the Kid Motors. Billy's from that area, and Buzz has a great motor package, but he has a pretty good one that runs down the straightaways. And fortunately we went to the Valley and we ran 5th, and I had never been there before last year. And I think that was attributed to Buzz's motor program. So as far as why 2019 was great, I just think that everybody came together, and we raced Jeff's car at Orange County for a Super Dirt Series race. We raced our own car up in Canada for all the Super Dirt Series races, and then we raced Buzz's car at probably 75 or 80 or 90% of the races. So we were successful, I think, because we spread it out. And, nobody got burned out. Nobody got burned out in September and October, and we just had great equipment. And Buzz was pretty excited when we won. He brought up a cool fact that we had finished every lap of every race all year. So that's I don't know when the last time that was done. That's that just goes to show you how hard the guys work in the shop and the great equipment we have behind us.
One of the things that always kind of blows me away about the, the traveling series and things like that, and like even the Northeast as a whole, is just how crazy, close it is, and how much talent there is. But what is it like racing on a night to night basis against the Stuart Friesens, the Billy Pouch Juniors, the Tim Fullers, the Matt Shepherds, like all of these guys, that are so good? Like, how difficult is it on a night to night basis?
It's tough. Like you said, you need a lot of good race car drivers there, and they're at every race that pays big money. So um, to go and win them big races, to win any race, really, especially from September 1st to November 30th, those are the hard ones. Those are when everybody's not racing weekly, and everybody shows up at the racetrack. There's everybody you name there racing at them races. So um, those ones are tough. I grew up thinking that I'd never have a shot at winning any of them. I never thought I'd win Super Dirt Week. I never thought I'd win a Super Dirt Series title, let alone win in the Port Royal Showcase 200. This pop-up event during a pandemic was pretty cool. So I think I've been pretty fortunate to be selected to drive for these good cars and good car owners, and it makes winning them races a little easier.
As you kind of look around the Northeast, there's obviously like a ton of tracks, between the US and Canada that run big blocks and small blocks. You've got, a couple of different series going on. How do you, like at the beginning of a season, decide where you're going to race, how often you're going to race? Like, how do you put that schedule together, knowing there's so many places you can go race? I guess in a normal year anyway.
Yeah, we kind of got to fly by the seat of your pants, really. You put on your schedule. For me, it would be Rantsville on Fridays, Merrittville on Saturdays, and as many Sunday races as you can. And then you kind of fill in all the Super Dirt Series races. You take away the weekly races when there's a Super Dirt Series race. And then you fill in the Short Track Super Series races. And then every big race following that, if Orange County comes up with a 100,000 win race, you put that in, in place anything. And then you kind of pick importance. If there's a race paying 10,000 to win and it's up against a race that's 3,000 to win that you would normally schedule in, you pick the bigger money. But it's tough. That kind of goes back to having everybody kind of agree on a program, American Racers and Hoosiers and small block and big block. And you hope that when everybody schedules races, there's no conflicts. But obviously every year there's something comes up that one car owner wants to do and the other one wants to do. And then you just kind of, you do what makes sense and you try to make everybody happy. And ultimately, they're very understanding. Every team owner is very understanding and crew members very understanding. And you get through it. You get through it.
Give me an idea about your own background, where you got started, what cars you were in, what your progression looked like to kind of get you to this point.
I started racing go-karts at Merrittville. Didn't really travel much. Dad was always busy building a business, working. He works 6-7 days a week, probably 90-something hours a week. And, that's as long as I can look back, that's what Dad's done. So we raced go-karts just Tuesday nights at Merrittville. And then, the reason we didn't travel is because he was working. And then when I was 15, we moved into the sportsman car. Raced that at Merrittville, Rantsville, Oswego, Humberstone, everything pretty much locally for 4 or 5 years. And then when I was 19, we got a modified and did the same thing kind of. We didn't really travel much. Tried to do Super Dirt Week. We raced at the mile a few times. Traveled a little bit and then got a big block, kind of just traveled a little more, went to Lernerville, won some races down there, a couple championships. Won a championship at Merrittville, kind of just progressed, really. Just, kept working hard, kept your head down. There was a year we went to Canandaigua every week, and we'd be lucky to finish 5th. That was a tough learning curve and a year probably that made me a better race car driver now today, getting my butt beat every Saturday at Canandaigua. So looking back at it now, it's cool to kind of reminisce and look at the checks on the wall from when you started. They progressed from $1,800 checks at the BRP Mod Tour to the big Super Dirt Week wins in Port Royal and Orange County and all of them. It's kind of like a trip down memory lane.
How big is the learning curve when you kind of jump from one level to the next? From the lower levels up to the small block and then the small block to the big block. Is there a lot to learn as you move up?
I think the biggest jump was probably going from a sportsman to a 358. A lot of these racetracks, the 358s are going just as fast around there as a big block is. And then when we got in a big block, we actually went down to Volusia. Matt Shepard towed the car down for us when he was racing for Jeff Brownell, and that was probably the biggest jump from going from a 358 to a big block at Volusia. Is like, Volusia's fast. It's one of the fastest places a big block probably races at besides Charlotte. And that was some learning that took some learning that year. But for the most part, from a 358 to a big block isn't much of a difference. It probably hurt us this year because we couldn't race a big block every week. That when we jumped in them, it took us probably a hot lap session or a heat race to get used to that power. And really, I like racing a big block more because it gives you the ability to get yourself out of trouble, and you can race a little harder than the 358. 358, you kind of got to race it like a sportsman car. So, but not too much of a learning curve.
Is there like a big cost difference, between engines and things like that? I mean, I would imagine the cars are the same, but when you go from the small block to the big block, is there a big jump in cost?
Yeah, we build a big block and a small block car are essentially the same. I think the only difference is the length of the hood is a little shorter with a small block car, and the axles are different. But motor-wise, the big block stuff is getting to be expensive, but you get what you pay for. I mean, you can go out and buy a Lexus for $150,000, or you can buy a Ford for $24,000. So, my own motor program, we get Doug at Finger Lakes to build our stuff, and Doug's like probably the most reliable, tamest engine builder you could ask for in the Northeast. He builds great motors, and and then Billy the kid builds the Buzz Chew stuff, and Billy does a great job building motors that get you out of trouble anywhere you go. Lebanon Valley and stuff like that. That their stuff's the cat's ass, and then Clements builds the stuff that Jeff Barrett owns. And it's kind of, then the next level up in price range, and it's awesome stuff. But small block to big block, you're probably looking anywhere between 25 for a small block and 40 for a big block. I would say average. Obviously you can spend more, you can spend less, but it depends on how much you want to spend.
I talked to Shane Andrews about this. I had him on this show here not long ago. And it was always one of the things when I got an opportunity to go to Volusia or go to World Finals and actually look at the cars, it's just how damn nice the big block modified guys keep their stuff. And the sprint car guys, late model guys, obviously they take care of their stuff too. I don't want to say that they don't, but it just seems like the big block modified guys, like it's just a step above. And I'm curious why that is and why that's important to the teams to be able to show a car that's so damn nice every time it rolls off the trailer.
I think for the most part, when you see us at Charlotte and Florida, you're seeing guys that are willing to travel, anywhere from 4 to 12 hours to get to Charlotte, and probably 12 to 18 to get to Florida. So obviously we take a lot of pride in making sure that when we roll down there, our stuff is nice looking. And I think that obviously there's some late model guys that keep their stuff top notch, just like there's some modified guys that keep their stuff top notch. And, same goes for sprint cars. And there's some ratty looking modifieds, just like there's ratty looking late models. But, you see us at our best. You see us when we're racing down to Charlotte, and it's the best from everywhere. It's the best from Lernerville and the best from Brewerton and the best from Canandaigua. So I think that's probably, the most to do with it. But, yeah, my stuff, if there's a quarter panel wrinkled on it, I make sure it's straight and nice looking. And, it's got to look good to go fast. So,
as I was looking around at some stuff, I love the nickname that keeps popping up. The Money Matt nickname. Is there like a better nickname for a race car driver to have than Money Matt? I mean, like you show up at the big money shows, you win. Like that's awesome.
I had the worst nickname before that, so I think that I worked really hard to earn a new nickname. And it's not a given nickname. It's kind of earned, which means a little bit more to me than most of that. But yeah, I'm happy with the whole Money Matt thing.
As you kind of look towards next season, obviously there's a ton of question marks about what the world's going to look like, what the schedule is going to look like. But have you thought about, where you are going to maybe try to race? Is it going to be something similar? If things kind of go back to normal a little bit, like, would it be something similar as what you did in 2019? Are you kind of looking at more maybe like what you did in 2020? Have you really started thinking about that yet?
It's always on your mind. Obviously right now we're thinking about Florida. Brett Deo's brought out some races that are 2 weeks before Volusia would be, which makes it tough. But that's what we're thinking about now, and then Volusia will be after that. But then come summertime, I don't really know what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna build a small block car. We're gonna build a big block car. I like to stick around home. Friday and Saturday. Rantsville works out perfect. I can work on Friday afternoon and jump the ditch and go race Rantsville, come home, and my stuff is ready to go for Maryville on Saturday night. So that's kind of the easiest solution for weekly racing. But we also thought about heading down the 401 up to Cornwall, and that's a 5-hour ride. We thought about going there weekly too. So weekly racing, we're kind of undecided on Sunday. In saying that, in the back of my mind, Terry Vince just got Humberstone Speedway, and he's going to do some kick-ass modified racing there too. So that'll probably be our Sunday home. And Super Dirt Series, Short Track Super Series, we'll be at every race. Hopefully we can get back up into the 80 race mark, 90 race mark, but that'll all be depending on this pandemic that's going on.
As you kind of, you're off now, it's the winter time. And like you mentioned before, you don't have a car in the shop behind you as you normally would, but what does your off season look like? How much work is there to be done kind of getting cars ready? I mean, are you going to be thrashing, or is it going to be kind of chill for the next couple of months? What is that going to look like?
The tough thing is we don't have motors sitting in the shop right now. That's really, I like to build a frame and then put the motor in and kind of build the car around a motor. So that's kind of going to hold us back. And that's going to this whole COVID thing with the border is we can't go back and forth with motors in the pickup truck like we normally do to get them rebuilt. So that's going to slow us down a little bit. It might make us thrash when the border opens up and we can go and get some motors back. But yeah, we're not in bad shape. I mean, we'll have a car built here within probably 2 weeks. Send it for lettering at Auto Effects, and then probably build another one just before the season starts, and we should be in good shape. But off-season fun, I'm getting really excited to go snowmobiling.
I was gonna say, I see the snowmobile in there behind you. I'd imagine that thing's probably gonna get drug out here pretty quick.
Yeah, it's I just picked it up actually a week ago. It's the first new snowmobile I've ever had, so I'm looking forward to when the snow flies.
Do you have to go far to be able to use that thing, or can you use it right around the house?
No, I got to go probably minimum probably 3 hours to use it, but we make weekend trips and make it worthwhile.
As you know, I'll let you go here pretty quick, but for those people that either maybe don't watch the modifieds on a regular basis or maybe don't know much about it, what is the elevator pitch to, for big block modifieds? And obviously Super DIRTCar Series is going to be on Dirt Vision, all the time next year. So if people have the Dirt Vision Fast Pass, why should they tune in and watch big blocks?
If you haven't seen it, you don't really know what you're missing yet. I can't pick a races out, off the top of my head, but there's been some kick-ass modified racing going on, even in 2020. Look at the Weed Sport race that's playing on Dirt Vision right now. Max McLaughlin won that race, was kick-ass. I was battling for the lead with Shepard, and Max come out of nowhere, and he kind of snookered everybody and got up and had to race the race of his life to win. And that's, just off the top of my head, probably one of the better races that would be on Dirt Vision right now. But the modified stuff, we go to some pretty cool racetracks that are, hidden gems up here in the Northeast and put on good shows. Albany, Saratoga. If you can watch a race at Albany, Saratoga, it's going to be a good race. Burton, Fulton, Canandaigua, Can-Am. There's just multiple good racetracks up here that will open some eyes on the internet.
Is there anything, you've won Super DIRTCar Series Championship, you've won Super Dirt Week, you've won a lot of big shows. Is there something still out there left that you want to win that you haven't yet?
I want to double up the Super Dirt Series Championship. I don't want it to be a one-time thing. So, when you get two, that means a little bit more than just getting one. But as far as races, we've been really close to winning the Fulton 200 for a few years now, and that's the one that kind of got away. That'd be the next one, hopefully on the bucket list. But I want to win them all. Well, I want to win every race we go to, and I'm not going to circle one on the calendar and put a couple X's and highlighter beside it. I'm gonna work hard to try and win, get up into that 20 win mark for next year.
I wanted to jump back just quickly to Volusia. If I remember correctly, you had a broken shock or a bent shock or something like the first night or first couple of nights or something. How difficult was it to drive around on that? I know you kind of struggled the first couple of nights, and then you close it out with the win after you guys figured it out. But like, how difficult was that, and how did you find that problem?
Yeah, we won the opener at Volusia this year, and then we progressively got worse like as the races went on, and then the shock broke during the third or fourth night, and we kept our heads down and kind of lit a fire under our ass. So we worked hard all day on Saturday, make sure we were good Saturday night, and then we closed it out with a win. So we had a good speed week. That was a place we struggled at last year and never really had success at before this year. So it was one of those ones that we marked on the calendar and said, let's go out and let's start 2020 off with a bang, and let's show everybody that last year wasn't a fluke, and that's certainly what we did. And then the whole COVID-19 hit, slowed our momentum down.
All right, last question: does Mat Williamson have a main rival?
Not really. We go to the racetrack and work hard at trying to win and trying to steal these big wins away from everybody. I wouldn't say that there's one main rival, but who's to say what won't happen this year?
Well, cool. Well, I certainly appreciate you taking some time to chat today, and good luck getting everything together the off season, and good luck going forward.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, Justin. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.